Welcome to the Tony the Prophet channel for the big game, Super Bowl 59. Here we go, Eagles and Chiefs. I've seen every other Super Bowl. Wasn't even called a Super Bowl until about game 3 or 4. And believe it or not, the first few games didn't even sell out. And they used to have them on 3 television networks before they decided that this is crazy. We've got to get it on one network. So if take it before we get into the game, you got Kansas City -1, -1.5, depending where you're at. A lot of people think some late Philly money is going to come in and bring the game to even. That's fine. Before I forget, and I just want to get this out there before I give you my pick, but I think the best bet of this whole Super Bowl is a teaser. You tease the Eagles, you get the 1.5, the DraftKings, and I think FanDuel still has 1.5. And you tease that up to +7.5, and then you take the over and you tease that down to 42.5. I think that's a winner. You put $100 on that, you make $183 and change. It's just easy money. But yeah, so I want to get into next week. Okay, last week, where I was 1-1. Philly, I was right on. But that Buffalo game was a travesty with the refereeing. I'm not saying the NFL fixes games, but this Clete Blakeman, okay, he's a hack. And there's no two ways about it. The guy's a hack. And he's been on my radar since a Monday night game in 2019 that I had bet the Lions money line before the Lions were good. And he called 3 personal fouls in the last minute of the game. Detroit was winning 22-0, and they lost on a last-minute field goal with Rodgers and the Packers in 2019 on a Monday night. You can Google it. My records say 10-14, and he gave that game away, and I lost that bet with no. I was leading for like 59 minutes and 56 seconds. So he's been on my radar. But I'll just go through this real quickly, and we'll get into the game. The most egregious calls, and there's about 11 of them. On the first drive, Cook gets a first down running the ball, gets like 11 yards. They give him 9. On the drive, second to last drive, with 2 minutes left in the game, Kincaid gets a first down on third down. They spot him short like a yard. Then Allen tries to go for it, and he makes the first down. If you look at the tape, the official on the far side of the field, where closest to the ball, spots the ball beyond the line. It was right at a yard marker there. And the guy at the bottom of the field that had the worst view spots the ball short, and he overrules them. They challenge it, and they still overrule him. Park Ave, they're probably drinking into a bunch of drinks by then. And, let's just get a sky judge, put a chip in the ball. You're over a $20 billion business, and you're going to Spain, Australia, Ireland to put these games. They want to send this game everywhere, which is great. And they want to have a separate streaming channel like Netflix, buy that package, and they'll make more billions. But can we put a chip in the ball and just get it right? So they didn't get the first down there. And then, of course, Kansas City scored. And then on the last play of the game, Kincaid would have had a miracle catch. It was impossible to catch. But they threw a flag to make sure that he didn't catch it. And then once it was incomplete, they picked the flag up. The announcer's going, "Oh, I saw a flag. Where's the flag?" So, come on. That was I don't have to tell you. They get Taylor Swift into the Super Bowl. They make an extra $500 million on her just by having casual people bump up the rights fees. But anyways, let's get to the game. Spending a lot of time analyzing this game, listening to people, radio, TV, this and that, hours and hours of analysis here. And anyway you slice it, the Eagles are the better team on paper, and they should win. They have the edge in everything except coach and quarterback and obviously running game. But other than that, if you do a tail of the tape, you have to take the Eagles, but not so fast, okay? Philly 17-3. KC 17-2. Against the spread, Philly's the better team, 13-7. KC was like 8-10-1. They were 12-1 and one score games. If the game's close, they're winning. Okay. Philly points per game 28.4. Kansas City 23.2. Opposing points a game 17.9, and then 19.4 for Kansas City. So you could see they've been in 4-point different point differential over the season. And I believe the Buffalo game's the first time they scored over 30. Yards per game 36.7, and for Philly, and only 367.1, and then 323.7 for Kansas City, 40 yards less. And then opposing yards per game, they only give up 289.3 Philly, and Kansas City with that defense gives up 324.3. So they're giving up more yards to the opponent by less than a yard than they have. And then the turnover margin, this is where Philly has lived and won some of these games. They're plus 21, and Kansas City's plus 5. So you have Andy Reid, who's the best bye-week coach in the history of the NFL, 33-7, and then you have Mahomes, 17-3 in the playoffs. How can you go against this guy? Okay, so we'll get into the game. Vic Fangio, 0-8, 0-8 against Mahomes. That includes the different teams he's been on. So the game script for Kansas City's easy. You have to stop Barkley from going crazy, and then Hurts will have to throw. His props like 211.5. I think he goes over that. He's going to have to throw to win. So they're going to stack the box, and A.J. Brown will get his, but the real mismatch in this game is in the slot and the center of the field. KC is a slot funnel defense. Okay, if you look at the stats, they give up the highest target share to the slot, 39.2%. Second most yards a game, 100.2 yards a game to the slot receivers. Okay, and then most first downs to receivers in the slot, 83. So in contrast, they allow the lowest target share on the outside, 34.8%, and the second fewest yards per game to the outside receivers, 80.4 yards. So what's going to happen? Skinny Batman, Devonta Smith, the Slim Reaper, okay, and Goddard, who is going crazy in the playoffs. He's got 24 targets in the playoffs. These guys are going to go wild, okay? I'm betting their props, the over receptions and yards. And so that's where they're going to get, that's where Kansas City's going to get beat. So on the other side of the game, Kansas City has the ball. I think you're going to see that they're going to run more. They don't want to get one-dimensional against that defensive front of the Eagles. So, they may use Pacheco more. Hunt's been the guy. With 2 weeks off, he may be a little more healthy. His props are low. I'm not touching him. But KC uses a lot of 12 personnel with the two tight ends. I think Noah Gray has a great game, kind of underutilized. Kelsey's going to get the attention, and I think Gray will be open. His props are great, 1.5 receptions and low. I forget off the top of my head. I bet them both low yards. I think 11.5. He should have 3-4 catches and be beyond that. So he could be open. If you look at what KC, when you look at the tape, they out of 12 personnel, they'll stack 3 guys, even including the tight end, and they do a lot of rub plays. KC are going to beat you with 1,000 cuts. They go down the field, a lot of time of possession, and I don't, they can strike with a big play, but it's not the MO. They control the ball. They go down the field. A lot of short passes and screens. They get a ton of yak. They get mismatches. They get a rub play, and the guys in the open like Kelsey, a Gray, Juju, one of these receivers, and then next thing you know, it's 20 yards later. So Um, so the other thing that Andy Reid does that when he has time off is he gets the secondary players involved. They didn't sign Hopkins to have one catch like he did the other week, the other game. Look for him. His prop is nothing. It's very low, 11 and a half, 15 yards, whatever it is. I'll do a separate tape and give you all the props I bet and the bets I made because I'm going to run out of time on this one to try to keep these low so you can quick hitters you do it. But look for him to have a good game. Be surprised if he scored. If you look what happened in last Super Bowl, Kadarius Toney, we call him Cadaverous Tony. The guy's done nothing. He's been a bust. A giant ghetto fool drafted, moved back and drafted him 20th. And then they get rid of him. He had 2 good games in his life there. He scores a touchdown and a walk-in touchdown. And Sky Moore, who's been the biggest bust that the Chiefs have ever drafted probably, he scored a touchdown in that game and has done nothing since. So Andy loves to use these secondary players and look for Juju to do something. And, and then the other thing is where I like Noah Gray is, and probably Kelsey in the playoffs, even though they double him, he made his props like 62 yards. He'll probably go over that. He's got to show off Taylor. But Philly's been getting killed at the tight end in the playoffs. They were great during the year. Kansas City's the team that's been the worst. That's their weakness against the tight end. That's why I think Goddard will do very well because they don't do well over the middle. But take a look at these numbers, okay? Ertz went crazy. He had 11 catches for 104 yards in that Washington game. Higbee, 7 catches, 54 yards and a touchdown. And in the Green Bay game, Kraft was only 5 for 26. So it doesn't sound like a lot. But when you consider that he was the number 1 receiver and that Love only had 20 completions. So he had 5 of the 20 completions. A lot of those with the running backs. So they're going to beat them over the middle, and that's a big hole. So look for KC, the tight ends, to continue to do well. So that's about it. I'll shut this off and I'll put the props on the second tape. But Philly, a great team, probably the best team in the NFL on paper. But I'm not going against Mahomes. Like the Who say, we won't get fooled again. No. Because I got fooled last year. I took San Francisco. I was stupid to trust those guys. And they were the better team on paper again, and they lost. So, I see this game, Kansas City 30-27, or 27-24. A lot of people with the way both teams can have long drives, although, if Barkley gets out, he's gone. But I think they'll contain him from the long balls. Not saying he wouldn't get 80, 90, maybe 100 yards. His prop was high. I bet it high. It was 116. I'm taking the under on that. I think it's less than that now. I'll do a separate props one. But anyways, I got it 30-27, 27-24. I'm not betting against Andy Reid and the Chiefs with Mahomes. They've won too many games and they won too many Super Bowls to bet against them. So that's it. Philly, I'm rooting for Philly. If I lose my money, in a weird way, I'll be happy because there's enough of the street Pete and all this. Let's get another team in there, but can't go against history. So I'll leave it at that. Enjoy the Sunday. It's American holiday, and I'll put a props thing out and just put quickly what I bet. Take care.